Welcome. Thank you for joining me here live once again this week at the Royal Sit Down. I am your host, Xyla Royals, and today is Tuesday, and you guys know how we get down on Tuesdays, right? It's Asking My Girl Xyla. But on this specific episode of Asking My Girl Xyla, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little bit longer. We're going to cover two questions that I see most of all in my groups. The first question is using blood and hair to do a love spell, and the second one is how to properly dispose of your remains. A lot of people, a lot of us, a lot of the times, we do spell work and we don't, necessarily. We don't necessarily know how to properly dispose of our rituals, right? Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is, if you're going to dispose any of your ritual remains, okay, first of all, know what you're trying to do. Are you trying to keep somebody coming back to you? Are you trying to influence them in a way that you will continue to control them? So that plays a big part. Okay, so just check this out real quick. If you want to keep something close, right, you bury it in your backyard. Okay? If you want to attract something, you bury it underneath your front porch. All right? If you want to destroy its influence, you burn it. Well, me personally, I do more than just believe that if you burn it, it's going to destroy the influence. But that's in your head. To me, when you burn something, you are releasing energy. Okay? So, say for instance, you write on a piece of paper, I would like to manifest $100 a day. If you like that piece of paper and you allow that energy from that spell to manifest itself in such of a way, then you'll get it. A lot of people like to burn money, because when you burn money, that's it's a whole bunch of rituals and symbolisms and spell work all written all over that dollar. So if you burn it, it's going to release the energy. But in this case, we're talking about disposing things. So just like I said, if you want to destroy something, its influence, you burn it. All right. If you want to move it away and sink, like if you want to get this coworker out of your hair, what you would do is you would toss that person's name into running water, flowing water. Like there's a saying here in the South, especially it come from Louisiana, that if you want to get rid of somebody, you take them to the river. And what they mean by that is you place their name inside of a bottle. The river is flowing, so you toss them into the flowing water. All right. Say, for instance, you don't have time for that. All right. You know that you can go. What I did one time was I went to a public restroom, a place that I never would go back anyway. All right. I used this public bathroom. When you flush the water down the toilet, what does it do? It flows down. So what I did was I took a piece of paper, wrote the name of the individual, and I tossed that person's name right on in the toilet. That's it. So, and I never looked back. The purpose is when you toss them into the flowing water, is to never look back. So you pick a place that you plan on never going again. Just use their bathroom. You know what? There's this cool. It's another way to a spell that you can do is, if you're tired of somebody, you write their name on a piece of tissue paper and you wipe yourself with it. You know what I mean? Like you wipe your shit with it. Okay, you wipe the shit off your ass with it, and then you toss that piece of paper into the water. So can you imagine what is going on? Okay. The next thing, if you want to, dispose your rituals. You can dispose them at a distance. Throw them at a crossroad. Throw them at a crossroad. If you want to keep somebody far away from you, you want that person not to be able to find you, or just however you want that person to stay out in the distance, the fuck away from you, take it to the crossroad. And 9 times out of 10, our deities at the crossroads are Papa Legba, Baron, the devil is at the crossroad. A lot of people like to say that Eshu, or aka Papa Legba, is that, but they're sadly mistaken. He can be anything. If you want to fix something and have an influence on it, you will place it in a 5 spot pattern. Okay? And I'm not quite sure how to explain what the 5 spot pattern is. It's just a pattern. You can Google it for more information, okay? But if you want to fix this influence, like if you want to fix that person's mind on what it is you want them to do, you use a 5 spot pattern. If you want to work by the means of the spirits and our ancestors, you bury it in the graveyard. Now, before you do this, before you go burying things in the graveyard, you make sure that, number one, you bury it in the you bury it with the right spirit, and you know, leave that spirit a small little offering. It's just out of respect. If you want to, wait, hold on. Yeah, well, I was just trying to make sure that I had got over all the notes. So that's for sure. So a lot of the ways that I like to dispose, mine is, you know, the classic. I always take mine to the crossroad and I leave it with Papa Legba, and I place 3 pennies there. I always leave an offering behind when I am getting rid of my work. But sometimes I like to take my work to the river too, because I rather give it to Yemiya, Yamanja, or Oshun. You can meet them there too. So you know what? If you I mean, but it's really all about how you're feeling and what you're trying to do, you know. But we're gonna go ahead and kick it off and answer this next question. Binding someone with love spells using hair. Okay, so check this out. When you bind someone using hair, love spells are perhaps like the oldest thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you love someone, you know, you want to, you want to keep them, and you want to make them unaware of what it is that you're doing. So if you have hair or blood, that is binding you to somebody, which means that you are now going to be connected spiritually, physically, and mentally. That, you know, there's no getting out of being bound together. Like that is that's like being glued to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm just gonna tell you guys how it works. So to cast this love binding spell using blood and hair, you need 1 red candle, okay? And then you'll take something like the hair or the blood from your body and your lover's body, okay? Now that's how you're gonna bind yourselves. You're gonna use your hair, his hair, your blood, his hair, and you're gonna get your red candle. Okay, and how you do this is, first, to perform these binding spells using blood and hair, you should concentrate on your lover's face and focus on him. See him messaging you and pleasing you and feeding you and just, baby, I love you. The important thing about this love binding spell using blood and hair is that you should imagine wholeheartedly, like this is what you truly want. Stay focused. Repeat this again and again until you are satisfied. Then you put your hair and your lover's hair, or whatever you guys have combined things together, and let the wax drip down on them. Okay, so basically you putting it down, you know, and you gonna take your red candle. If you want, you can personalize it. You can carve in whatever it is you want to carve into your candle. Make it your own, and you let the wax drip down on this particular material that you got. Let the wax harden on these things so they could stick together. This love binding spell using hair is very well easy, all right, and binding you and your lover. In order to cast this love binding spell using hair and blood, you need a piece of your lover's um, hair. Oh, guys, you want to know something? While I'm sitting up here babbling on about what you need, you can also use a picture too. You can also use a picture. I have a few little love spells here too that you can use hair, blood, and picture, and roses and incense. All right. Um, just say, for instance, you got this. You don't even necessarily have to have a red candle to do a love spell. You can have a pink candle. If you want a pink candle, you can have a red candle. You can have a blue candle. You can have whatever candle you want to work with your particular love spell. Okay. A lot of people, a lot of us have jars. A lot of us have jars. Girl, put that blood, put that urine, put your bodily fluids in that jar. Put his name, put his picture in that jar. Light a red candle on top of that jar. Bam. Look at you. You got a love spell. You can use blood and hair for anything. But I tell you this. Once you do that, you are bound to that person. And it's hard getting hair and hair and blood work undone. A lot of us tend to do these spells and we don't know how to properly dispose them, which I hope that you guys know how to do that by the time you finish listening to this podcast. And number two, we don't even know how to undo the blood and the hair. Okay? So let me just tell you, first of all, about this menstrual blood. Okay? Menstrual blood is it's first of all, guys, it's in the African American hoodoo tradition, okay, that we serve a man our menstrual blood in his coffee or tea, okay, and this will keep him from wanting, well, you know what, it keeps them bound to you, because it don't necessarily stop them from fucking other women, but it will keep them with you. If you work this a certain way, you can keep him from fucking other women with your blood. That's why we are doing this particular podcast, asking this particular question. Go back to go back to the first one where I said that how to bind yourself with that person using your blood and hair. That's the same thing. If you don't feed it to him, you can use it in a candle. But for my ladies who say that I'm just gonna straight feed it to them, you can use your blood like that. A lot of us women, we don't, we be like, ew, I don't want to do that. But then turn around and you sneak your little tampon in his spaghettis, and I'm telling you, like when y'all do menstrual blood and menstrual blood to me is stronger than somebody's hair. So when you do menstrual blood, like, you make sure that you are able to deal with the emotions that going with being captured, because when you using menstrual blood, you can be captured by your own spell. You know what I'm saying? Because men are thought to be so, magically developed, like they can control this and whatever, you know what I'm saying? Women tend to be caught up in this, and it is common for a man to refuse or only, not want to do this. So, in order not to be captured in your own stuff, make sure you set your stuff to the side, like your food to the side, and give it to him. So if you guys would just give me one moment, I'm gonna see if anybody has something to say, because I find it to be quite interesting that this is something that we like talk about a lot in the group, about being using menstrual blood and things like that. But if you're wondering how to capture your menstrual blood, if you are wondering like how you collect your menstrual blood, you can use a tampon or, um, and use your tampon because most of the time we do use fresh blood. Okay, so you stick your tampon inside of whatever it is you're giving to him. You know, give it to him. Bam, bam, bam. He's gonna drink it. So I mean, it might sound simple, but it's really powerful. You know, the things that I can remember just off top is avoid being captured in your own stuff by serving your stuff separately. Make sure you don't feed your own self your own blood, or when you do your work with your blood and you're not going to feed it to anybody, just make sure that you know what it is you want and what it is you're going for, because once you give these men your bodily fluids and you do anything like that, you are opening up a whole nother world. And it's quite crazy that we step into these situations with these love spells and we don't even know what to do. We go in the group and we ask the group members how to do it, but yet we still may not be fully aware on how to do it. So I do suggest that you do your own research before performing certain spells like this, because this is a spell that is hard to reverse. A lot of my girls are baby witches, and they are very intrigued by these type of spells and they want to do them, and they don't even have the first clue on how to do it, how to dispose of it, or how not to be captured in their own ritual and how to undo it. So what I suggest is that we all take it slow and we learn from 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is going to end this episode of Asking My Girl Xyla. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this, and you can find me here every Monday and Tuesday. It's supposed to be at 9:30 a.m. to enjoy Asking My Girl Xyla. If you have any questions, you hit hashtag Asking My Girl Xyla and I'll get to you and let you know if your question will be aired on this show. I love you guys and peace out. Thank you.